Hello, I'd like to welcome you to today's Mental Wellness Show. I'm your host, Mark Weisenburger. But yeah, you were talking about the antibiotics or other things changing that microbiome, good, bad. Also, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's also in today's society, we eat a lot of sugar, we eat a lot of processed foods, a lot of fast food, drive up through the window. And all of that, to my understanding, also affects the good versus bad microbiome, microflora, bacteria, whatever you want to call it. And actually, the more that we eat, the more bad bacteria grows and the less good bacteria grows and actually dies off, which in return makes us crave that pie, that cakey cookie, cake, whatever, the fast food hamburger, etc. Is that a true statement?
Well, it's definitely true that if you eat a variety of food, especially, real food, I'm a big proponent of eating real food. So if you're eating healthy, whole, real food, and you're getting a variety of it, that's going to be the best thing you can do when it comes to eating, coupled with fermented foods, things like that, to really have a great microbiome that's got some variety to it. But if you're eating a lot of processed food, usually there's not that much variety. You're probably going to the same 2 or 3 or 4 places over and over again. You're probably ordering very similar stuff. And as you mentioned, really high in processed sugar, which is inflammatory in and of itself, and is going to lead to a lot of issues in the gut. And so for sure, what you eat is going to play a massive role. You mentioned parasites, the antibiotics, and then there's also things like fungus, like a candida, yeast infection. People can have candida, not even realize it. If you eat food and you're bloated, you get constipated, you get gassy, this is your body telling you, maybe whatever you just ate doesn't really agree with you. And most people yet are eating these same kind of foods over and over and over again. So for example, one recommendation that basically everyone should get, especially if they have any type of GI disturbance, imbalance, they eat some foods, they're noticing they're sensitive to a lot of stuff, you can go to your doctor and get a food allergy panel. And you can find out, what am I sensitive to? What am I allergic to? And you'd be surprised. I had a client, he was eating eggs for the last 30 years every morning for breakfast, and he's sensitive to eggs. And then he thought that his nose running and his eyes being a little puffy was like normal, because it's been like that for 3 decades. But then he stops it and everything goes away and he feels great. People are eating dairy all the time and they're always, and maybe not everybody, they're congested or their nose is running all the time. They have a lot of phlegm and mucus and maybe they just don't feel too good. And then they cut it out because it shows up on the food allergy panel. And those aren't 100% accurate, but they're a great tool and they give you some really good information to find out where you're at right now. So again, I want you guys to be thinking about gut health, antibiotic use, parasites, candida, food sensitivities. All these things are dramatically going to improve your mental health and your body's ability to be resilient to stress.